And we are recording. Welcome, this is your host, Abraham El Jaguar. Before anything else, this channel is proudly partnered with the What the Funk shop. Please check out their store for all sorts of products. They have dice, miniatures, game master screens, home decorations, and many other things. You will find the link in the description and in the pinned comment. And make sure that you use my code for a special discount. This is going to be a tutorial actual play session where I play this solo RPG, Splatter Shack. This is based on the Splatter House video game, from Sega, where you play as this guy that got this cursed mask onto his face, and he is now possessed by some weird entity. He basically transformed into Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th. He's trying to rescue his girlfriend. So this is the same premise, the Splatter Shack solo role-playing game. I actually played this game like about a year ago, more or less. A year ago, more or less, and I got my character got killed. So this is my revenge, and of course I am doing this with better quality in terms of video. Sound was okay, and hopefully this actual play tutorial video will help some people that have never played solo RPGs before, or that are just interested in how other people do it to play these sorts of solo RPGs. I have already created my character. The randomly determined things that I obtained were also Jason as a name. My other character was also called Jason. The hit points are decent. I am wearing this leather jacket that gives me +1 armor. I decided to put 2 points in muscles because you're going to be fighting a lot with brute strength, and 1 point in reflexes because not all of the time are you going to be able to find ranged weapons to take advantage of that, and traps are also not as frequent as melee combat. And brains 0, that's my weak spot. I also got the meat cleaver as the random weapon, which gives me a +2 damage, and the skull mask. It looks like a skull, and the first time you die, you come back with 1d6 hit points. So let's see how it goes. I am going to be presenting this as a video game experience, as if it were a video game. So the game starts, and I'm going to try to make it very clear when I am role playing as the main character. On the screen, bloody words appear. The Hell Mask. The plan was to take your honey to a remote cabin in the woods for a romantic retreat. A massive rainstorm erupted on the way there. The car got stuck in the mud. In the deep of the woods, you flooded the engine trying to move forward. No other choice left but to get out and do the rest on foot. You told your lover you'd be back in a jiffy. Then you ventured in the dark with nothing else than your flashlight and the soaking wet clothes on your back. A 20-minute walk, more or less, separated you from the cabin. A pair of traction aids was waiting for you in the cellar. But that's not the only thing you found in the cellar. More precisely, something in the cellar found you. A mask. A hell mask. Bloody letters flash on the screen. It fused itself to your face, transformed you into a rage-filled monster, an unstoppable killing machine. Nightmarish visions assaulted your mind, demons pouring into our dimension like an infection, twisted abomination, slaughtering humans like cattle, enslaving their souls to serve hell for all eternity. Among those fragile human prey, one face too familiar, Justine, your one true love, held captive by demonic monstrosities somewhere in a deep dark pit under the cabin. You ran as fast as you could on the dirt road, made slippery by the rain, half blinded, panicked in the stormy night, leaving behind you the cabin that you could have sworn was laughing diabolically at your desperation. When you finally arrived at the car, lungs burning, head spinning, your worst fear became reality. Justine was nowhere to be found. The door on her side of the car had been ripped open. Claw marks had left deep scratches in the paint. Then the cabin burst in laughter again. You headed back there, the fury of 1,000 men burning in your chest. The hell mask hugged your face a little tighter. It whispered something in the back of your mind about vengeance, about retribution, paid in blood, rivers of blood. Whatever had taken Justine was gonna pay for their crime. As you made your way back to the cabin, you swore to let nothing stop you. There will be hell to pay. Bloody red letters flash in the screen after you start the game. The long, hard road out of hell. To come out victorious on the other side of Splatter Shack, you need to survive every room and defeat the final threat. The main protagonist enters, and more bloody letters appear, dripping blood. The Blood Pit. Stage 1. The Blood Pit. Even from outside, you can tell that the shack doesn't look right. The front windows look like angry, frowning eyes, glowing with pure hate. The old entry door is torn to bits. All that's left on the door frame are sharp splinters of wood, resembling pointy fangs in a ghastly mouth. It's going to take more than that to keep you out. We must now make a room roll, a doom roll. It's quiet, too quiet. Once inside, you find a scene straight out of a psychopath's nightmare. All the furniture has been crushed, as if a tornado had redecorated the whole room, and there's blood everywhere. Everywhere. That means floor, walls, and even the ceiling. Gory letters appear on screen. All shades of blood. Fresh red blood. Crusty, clotted, brown blood. Putrid, black, chunky blood. Every door and hallway out of what used to be a large living room has been erased. The only apparent way out of the room is a large stone well smack. Is a large stone well smack dab in the middle of the room. Of course, that stone well was never here until now. You would have noticed, especially since a cavernous gurgling sound can be heard coming from its opening. That well rumbles like a volcano on the verge of erupting. In fact, it does erupt. The stone well pukes out a powerful geyser of thick, odorant blood that hits the ceiling and rains down on the room and everything inside it, including you. Rolling for room content. rolling for trap. A flesh cocoon almost lands on top of Jason, thinking fleshy bags, pregnant with monstrous leeches and throbbing. As Jason, I roll on the floor to my right, barely avoiding a gory and stinky eruption of parasites, decay, and bile. A sound is heard in the distance. Muscle bound corpses thump their way into the room. As Jason, I rush towards the nearest one and chop down at its head. The meat cleaver connects, sinking deep into the head of the aberration. With a sickening sound, the blade detaches itself from the wound, but the monster continues to lunge at us. The other undead monstrosity attempts to tackle Jason from the right side. Jason jumps backward immediately while cutting horizontally. Once again injuring the monster with a gash on its head, almost cutting off its arm. Both monsters rush at Jason, clawing and trying to bite at him. As Jason, I duck, cutting upwards with my meat cleaver, attempting to finish off the monster that has been wounded. The meat cleaver goes deep into the skull, but at the same time, the monster inflicts a horrible 5 hole wound on Jason's torso. Jason immediately recovers as the aberration falls limp, but the second one jumps at Jason, trying to take him down. Jason attempts to hold him back. As Jason, I hold him back with my forearm and cut downwards with my meat cleaver, inflicting a terrible wound on the creature's left side of the face. The creature recoils, growling, and throws itself, attempting to headbutt Jason. As Jason, I strike at the head of the creature with the handle of the meat cleaver. Ah! inflicting a terrible wound. A crack is heard as the creature's skull almost caves in. The monster comes again, trying to lock Jason into a bear hug. I elbow and cut with the meat cleaver, attempting to sandwich the head of the enemy in front of me. The head of the creature explodes like an overripe fruit, but the creature inflicts a terrible wound on the right side of the torso. Jason howls in pain. Both aberrations are on the ground in pieces, no longer moving. Jason celebrates. Jason, I yell. With the deed done, all of the exits that connect to the room are closed either by the structure itself or by a barrier of seemingly impenetrable miasma. The well remains open. I steady myself as Jason take the cleaver and jump down into the well. The screen changes. Gory letters appear on screen. The sewers. Stage 2. The sewers. The blood pit is deeper than expected. Fortunately, you finish your fall in a large pool of warm liquid. Yeah, you guessed it. More blood. A pool of congealed hemoglobin. You spit the disgusting fluid that got in your mouth, forgetting that you are wearing a mask and it just trickles down your chin. That shit is in your hair, your ears, your eyes, and every goddamn orifice of your body. Better not think too long about it and get out of there as soon as possible. Thankfully, this pool is pretty shallow and not very large. You make your way out, wipe most of that crap off of you before inspecting your surrounding sewers. You're in the dark, damp, filthy, gore filled sewers of this hellhouse. An underground maze of tunnels and pipes designed to flush out all the blood and filth spilled in this forsaken place, making a doom roll. All is quiet. Your eyes become accustomed to the darkness, and you start to see misshapen forms moving around in the noxious tunnels, getting closer and closer to you, rolling on room content. A decapitated, floating demonic head, as big as a tractor tire, suspended in the air, throws itself at Jason, chomping with its horrible maw, with its ghastly jaws. I take aim and cut diagonally downwards with the meat cleaver, inflicting a terrible red line across the head. The head growls. It wastes no time and begins floating, forming a horizontal eight shape and launches itself once more at Jason. As Jason, I jump backwards and attempt to hit the head with the handle of my meat cleaver, inflicting even more damage. A crack is left on the right side of the creature's of the floating head's forehead. The creature growls, doesn't miss a bit, flies up into the air, and dives. As Jason, I sidestep immediately to the right, while cutting with the meat cleaver in an upwards way, attempting to make the cleaver connect with the skull as it descends with the floating head. Once more, connecting solidly. The head flies into the darkness and darts back in. As Jason, I follow up with a thrust. The head is completely torn apart as the edge of the meat cleaver, not so sharp, drills into the floating head. It explodes. As Jason, I celebrate. The ferocity of Jason's howling and roars of anger floods the sewers with a profane promise of revenge. There is only a single dark tunnel in the distance. As Jason, I walk towards the tunnel and go through it. The screen changes. Bloody letters appear. Stage 3. The cells. You find yourself in a large room, crudely lit by neon light. It reeks of sweat, grass, piss, and shit. Green flies, about half the size of your fist, are buzzing around your head frantically. Concrete walls, floor, and ceiling. Half a dozen tiny cells, locked metal doors with rusted hinges. Two of them are empty. The four others are occupied by gray skinned, famished captives with death in their eyes. Juliet, Juliet ain't one of them. Where is she? Where did they take her? Only one way to find out. Hack and slash your way through this door and keep moving forward. Time to make that doom roll. Making the doom roll. All remains quiet. As Jason proceeds, he arrives at what appears to be a torture room. And this concludes this solo session. I would like to continue and finish it, but I have a bit of a tight schedule. I hope you enjoyed this solo role playing session. When it comes to running this tutorial type of videos, it's really challenging to jump between the explanation and getting back into the character and going into game master mode. It's very easy to play this game of Splatter Shack. You create your character, you read through the prompts, they tell you to make this roll, the doom roll, the rolling to determine if there are enemies. Battle is resolved with a single roll of the dice, regardless of the number of enemies. The If there are two enemies, it's more difficult, and you potentially take more damage. It's always a two-sided dice roll to see if you're successful or not. And we are doing great so far. We are doing great. Thank you for watching this recorded session. If you have any comments, questions, etc., let me know. This has been your host, Abraham L. Jaguar, a professional game master. Thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, consider joining as a member using the super thanks button. Check out the information in the description, the pinned comment, like, subscribe, etc. And remember, roleplay solves everything. Once again, thank you. Have a great rest of your day, evening, wherever you are. I'll see if I can do some live streams, perhaps dusk, in a few moments. Once again, thank you. See you later.